Do not waste your money on a traditional office. At least not yet, in my opinion. We're going to talk about why, what to do instead, and maybe some exceptions. Sometimes under certain circumstances, you might consider an office and who that would work best for. Let's dive in. All right. Here's why I don't think you should waste your money on a traditional office. The fact is, much more cost-effective options exist in this day and age, and I think you should take advantage of them. First, there's the virtual office, maybe around $75 a month. You use it as your official address. It is a real office, but you don't really go there very often. You accept mail there. You can put the address on court pleading so you don't have unhappy clients or opposing parties showing up at your home, and you can use it to meet with clients if you want to rent a conference room by the hour. So I think that's the ideal setup for when you're just beginning. Another alternative is co-working space. Obviously, you have to be very mindful of attorney-client privilege issues if you're working anywhere that's even semi-public, but there are ways to do it. Co-working space and virtual offices work best for attorneys who are trying to keep costs as low as possible, which I think is a great strategy when you're just starting. But co-working spaces work best for attorneys who need to be around other people in order to be productive or who need to get out of the house to feel like they're working. The other good thing about co-working spaces is you can meet people and they can become potential referral sources or even clients for you. So even if you are a person who needs to get out of the house to be productive, I suggest using an appropriate co-working space rather than a traditional office. Again, just be mindful of attorney-client privilege. Both co-working spaces and virtual offices typically have conference rooms that you can use either included in the price or rent by the hour. I've been really surprised by how few clients want to meet in person. I try not to take it personally, but it helps keep costs low because everybody's busy. They like to handle things over the phone or email or even video conferencing if they can, and that's convenient and it helps you keep your costs low. That's why I don't think you should waste your money on a traditional office. It's just that better cost alternatives exist, and so much of early law firms' success is about limiting your costs. Now, if you're not in a traditional office, it probably means you don't have a filing cabinet and you're not doing old school paper files to keep track of everything. That means you need a good cloud-based system. Cloud-based law practice management software is nothing new. It's been around for 20 years. Find a good low-cost option. Obviously, I recommend Practiced from our company, but also because it works great for my law firm and it's sort of informally sponsoring this video series. Okay, so that's why you shouldn't waste your money on a traditional office. Those are my thoughts about what you should do instead. Now, what are the exceptions to the rule? When do I think it does make sense to invest in a traditional office space? One possibility is if you live in a small town where clients might have the expectation of seeing you face-to-face in person and where foot traffic might be a significant source of business for you. Being cloistered away in some tall office building probably isn't going to bring in any business, but if you're in a small town and there's an affordable option on Main Street where people might stop in and see you, that could pay for itself. That's the type of situation where I think a traditional office makes sense. Another exception might be if you have a large team and you want to keep everyone together, but even with large teams, there are ways to have distributed teams, people working remotely, and still have that work well. Just because you have a large team doesn't automatically mean you need a traditional office space. I think the best case for a traditional office space is if you are in that smaller town or sort of Main Street area where foot traffic and client expectations really make having a traditional office makes sense. If you've seen my videos before, you know I'm all about building non-traditional law firms. I think it's better for lawyers, clients, and for everybody, society as a whole when you do so. So I've been doing many videos on these topics. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, check out Practiced, and thank you so much for watching.